Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Tommy Lee, and today I will be sharing with you a brief summary of my conversion. I was born in Madison, Wisconsin to Hmong immigrant parents, and much of my early life was spent oscillating between the worlds of modern American culture and Hmong culture. About when I was 8, my parents got a divorce, and this shattered my world, and it really planted a seed of darkness in my heart. This darkness spread and festered into my adolescent years, where I became a ghost to myself. I was very resentful, and I would fill the void that was in my heart with video games, TV shows, internet culture, whatever I could get my hands on. This resentment grew, and I started to hate myself. I hated my parents. I hated my people. I hated my country. Shortly after that, I became an atheist. I held the belief that we were just human, and us humans, we were just flesh sacks, meat sacks on a rock flying through space with no end in mind. It was as if I looked into the abyss, and the abyss welcomed me wholeheartedly with open arms. So, what flipped the script? What changed? Well, there was a series of events that happened. I think the first one was when I was in the darkest moment of my life. I got on my knees and I tried to do what I saw Christians do on TV shows. I got on my knees and I prayed to God and I said, "Hey, if you exist, please help me." And after that, it's not like a voice spoke to me out from the sky, out of the blue. I started to take on more optimistic approaches to life. I started to come to the realization that what life was worth living, despite its suffering. I came to the idea that the things that happened to me, although they were painful and they were hard, they helped develop who I was, and I didn't regret who I was in that moment. I started to hang out with friends, and I started to make friends. And one of these friends, when I was hanging out with him, he said something very profound to me. He said, "Tommy, that sense of optimism you have, do you know that some people have a name for it? And that name is God." That really blew my mind, right? Mind you, I was an atheist at the time. Him connecting the dots between the God of the Christians and this idea of optimism and goodness and supreme goodness really blew my mind. And it helped me understand that there was goodness, true goodness in the world. And I started taking more responsibility for my life. I stopped blaming my parents for things. I was an adult now, right? I started on this path of spirituality, finding the true meaning of life. And deeper than that, I started finding truths in what the Christians call the Bible. Now, the Bible, I realized, wasn't a scientific book. The Bible was a collection of stories. And growing up, my conscience was always formed by stories. So I started taking the stories of the Bible more seriously. And I found that my favorite stories from pop culture had roots and ties to the Bible. I also knew that as a man, as a person, I'm not supposed to live by myself. It's not just me and the book. I needed community, so I looked for a community. I went to many different types of Christian churches, and I was always caught and drawn in by one. And that church was the Catholic Church. Now, maybe it was the high vaulted ceilings, or that we were sitting and pointing and looking at the same thing, or maybe it was because the priest who was at the altar didn't make the whole liturgy or the whole service about himself. It could be all of those things. But as I studied more and more and looked into the claims of the Catholic Church, I came to realize that this is the church that Jesus founded. And I wanted to belong to that church. So I converted on Easter 2020, I should say. I converted on Easter 2020, the 2020th year of our Lord. And I haven't looked back since. Now I'm in South Louisiana. I have a family of my own. And I am starting this channel, trying to get this channel going in hopes to help men like me who are struggling with darkness, with their demons, to help them fight those demons, and to also at the same time help them grow in holiness. So if you know somebody like me, if you think they would benefit from hearing my story, feel free to share this video with them. And if you feel so inclined and you want to help, please feel free to hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment with your feedback. But most importantly, please pray for me, and I'll pray for you. My name is Tommy Lee. God bless.